I would like to say Rohobat Moisar Rohobat Shalilu Wu-Sabat Pa Musbat. We send greetings by way of divine love to you all, family of Wu-Sabat Pa Musbatu, the Sebians. I am Haptwi Re Atam Hatam, one of the many student teachers, masculines and feminines around the world, of the master teacher, Parnaba Byananan, the galactical master of heaven and earth, affectionately known to us as, or who we affectionately refer to as, Baba Yanun, an Etherian who incarnates into the body of His Excellency Dr. Malachi Z.K. York Ukran, 33 degrees over 720 degrees. So, let's say warhub once again, for those of you here at the chat, those of you on Clubhouse and those of you on Zoom. Thank you for taking the time out to come here. Because remember, without you all, there is no class. And what the master teacher often says is, what we teach is what we need to learn ourselves. So it's each one teach one. He also says, read, 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 teach, teach, teach. And that's our job. Okay? What, as they say that once we know, we now become accountable. See? Or the more educated we become, the less excuses we can make. You know what I mean? Right, so let us begin. Today's class is entitled The Ontological Forces of Natural Nature. What is our connection? And before we start this class, I'd like to say this. The master teacher says a thing. I came giving you all what you all wanted so that you will learn to want what I have really come to give. He said this back in the days, 1960s. That's how long he's been teaching this, for about 60 years. And he first came giving us wu-nuwaup or Wu-Sabat back then. But we were just asking questions about the religion of Abrahamism, Mosesism, Jesusism and Mohammedism. Then he said a thing, I'll put these books away until the right time, R-I-P-E, arrives, so that I'll give you what I really have come to give. And so he had 30 years from 1970 AD up until the year 2000 to give us what we wanted. And then up to the year 2000, we asked the ultimate of questions, which was, who is God? And from that point on, he knew that we were ready to move to the next level. Okay? And this next level is what he has really come to give, right knowledge, right wisdom and the right understanding, wu-nuwaup, or as we term it now, Wu-Sabat. Okay? So now we are now in a day, time and cycle, giving us what we need, or we call it the science of sound right reasoning, nuwaup or nupu. And we have to say at this point that life is both a journey and a destination. Life is when you come into Wu-Sabat for some, it's a journey, and for others, it's a destination. And through the many schools that we have gone through, or the many transitions from one school to the next, every time we transition to another level, you've got those that stay and those that drop off. And so that's what's happened throughout the many years. And the greatest of all challenges was when the master was kidnapped, I think 2000 AD, when he was 2002 AD, when he was kidnapped, and everything was taken, the land, everything was taken. And that was really an indication to see who would stand the test of time when everything's been taken from under our rug. And that was the ultimate of test. And we are constantly being tested, especially when you come into Wu-Sabat. As we said earlier on, the more educated we become, the less excuses we can make. Okay? So when we say life is both a journey and destination, what we're saying here, we're born, we grow, we mature, we decline, and we die. Then a new journey begins in the non-physical. And for some, living life is a destination. They've reached their expansion point. For others, life is a journey towards self-discovery. And Wu-Sabat is that vehicle that gives us the tools towards what we refer to as self-realization, which is another way of saying self-mastery. Okay. So what we are being taught, what the master teacher is teaching us or is imparting to us, is what we refer to as the ancient Egyptian mystery system. This is what he's imparting to us. And a lot of the majority of information.
Is that the last teaching or the last teachings of?
Sorry, can you use the microphone? Just for people online so they can hear you. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Greetings, Wu-Nuwaup. I'm Sitari. I am like the first new to this class. So wasn't this the teachings, the Egyptians, the last teachings of humanity, or were there more teachings?
Oh no, that's a good question. It's not the last teachings of humanity. Here it is. It's the first teachings of humanity. You know what I mean? It's the first teachings. All the so-called secret societies, they came. Though the Greeks, the Hindus, the Romans, they all came into Tamare and learned under the feet of these venerable black masters. And also these masters also went to other lands, be it India and them other lands, to teach as well. And what the people done, they took the information and they, let's say, for lack of a better word, reconfigured it for their people. The Greeks, what they done, they received the teachings of Tuhuti, or we say the Hotui in tones, or Thoth. They took the teachings, and what they done, they made a composite character, or another character, who they refer to as Hermes Trismegistus. And the 9 principles of the Hotui, or we call it the Ha-Ha teachings of Tuhuti, what they done is, they actually call it the Hermetic principles. They got the 7 principles, or the 7 Hermetic principles. And you hear a lot of the people today, when they're teaching, especially the Caucasian, when they're teaching from the Hermetic principles, which has its origin in the sacred wisdom of Tuhuti, or the Ha-Ha teachings of Tuhuti. So if you look at many of the leaders, or let's say the orators of the Caucasian race from 1920s, etc., this is what they're teaching from. You see, one character who I do recommend listening to on YouTube is a guy called Neville Goddard, which is a very interesting. Listen to his teachings; it's very interesting because somebody did mention it in the previous class about Neville Goddard, and his teacher was a guy called Abdullah. And this guy Abdullah, sorry, going away from the class, just to give you a little background information. This guy Abdullah was like an Ethiopian who was well learned in Hebrew and well learned in the Bible. But he had a talking is that he himself was a mystic. And he, the one who taught Neville Goddard, plus others, a lot of sciences, but he was referencing the Bible. But he was referencing the Bible not in the way how it's done, probably of orthodox teachings. He refers to God, man, or he refers to God really as each individual as a God being. And okay, it's very interesting. Then you're going to realize that we are a triune being. When we say triune being, meaning that we have a God mind, we have a mortal mind, and we have a devil mind, which we are going to go in later on in the class. Okay? So, let's let you know that what we are receiving is the highest of teachings from the Master. But let's say the highest of teachings, meaning that there are higher and higher and higher degrees, higher and higher degrees. And once there comes a point whereby we reach, whereby you have the reinsertion and activation of a particular gland called the barotheric gland, which opens you up to part with the all, in all. So that's for the elite few. Okay, so let's start today's class. The ontological forces of nature. What is our connection? So the first, is everybody all right so far? Not any questions thus far? It's still warming up. I used the mic there somehow.
You talk about Neville Goddard when he talks about feeling, the secret to feeling, or his books of that nature, the person that has those books.
He talks about the...
Feeling is the secret, or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, yes. What he teaches is that that's really imagination. Imagination. But when you say feeling, you talk about emotion. And you say what he teaches. We're going to go into that later because that ties in to what's referred to as reality versus illusion. So we can go into that later on. Okay? So, could you mention that? So the question is now, the class title says what the ontological force of natural nature, what's our connection? The question we need to ask, well, what we ask the listening audience is, what is meant, or we say ontological forces, we say, the question that we ask now is, what is meant by the term ontology? Anybody? Clubhouse? Zoom?
Study of the earth.
You get in there, you get in there. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. The study of, you get in there, you get in there. Ontology, anybody? Zoom? Clubhouse? The chat? Anybody? Make a guess. The sister said the study of the earth. She's getting there, getting there. You get in there.
Study of animals.
You get in there, you get in there. You got the species, so you got the earth, you got animals, and earth and animals. Someone's going to say something?
The study of manifestation of creation,
You get
or how things took form and were created.
correct, right? Yeah, you hit it there. How things will form or created, or let's say the study of existence. Ontology is the study of existence, and it's also the study of how we determine if things exist or not, as well as the classification of existence. That's what ontology is. Okay, I'm going to read something to you all. I might do it later on, but I'm going to get this out. Right, what you got here, we have what we refer to as the all prayer. Patakyod, but I can read that in a minute. Okay, so ontology basically is the study of existence. Also, it is also the study of how we determine if things exist or not, as well as the classification of existence. Ontology attempts to take things that are abstract and establish that they are in actual fact real. At its core, ontology is the study of what is. And when we say what is, we are saying what is existence. Okay. I just want to read, this is what we call patakyod. This is an affirmation that we say. And it says, I'm going to say it in English. I'm inside the divine love of the all expanding. the all expanding is what we refer to as absolute, infinite, and eternal natural nature. Before I continue, I just want to say something here before I continue. Is that, I have to say something here, is that in these classes you will hear words, terminologies, and concepts that you may become unfamiliar with. And the reason for that is because of the fact that we are in a new day, time, and cycle. We are in what's referred to as the age of Aquarius, or the age of Ptah, or the sun cycle. We are in another new day, time, and cycle. We're in the sun cycle. We came out of the moon cycle, and during the moon cycle, we was in the age of the Piscean era, which lasts 2,160 years. So we are now in the age of Aquarius. We are in a day and time where people's mind now is now beginning to elevate. We'll be in an era of time whereby we begin to use a greater portion of our minds, of our brain. Okay, and this is all being perpetuated and propagated by the forces of natural nature. We would say the 9 etheric forces of natural nature, or we would say the ontological forces of natural nature that is propagating this, so that we are in a daytime and cycle where the forces are conspiring to our advancement, not only as 9 ether Nagaranado Negroids, but also as humanity in general. Okay, so we just like to point that out, that we want you to become familiarized with these new words, these new terminologies, and these new concepts. Okay, now what happens is we begin to expand, so we no longer think inside the box. We now begin to think outside of the box, and when we begin to think outside of the box, we begin to use what we refer to as our God mind, or our 9 mind. Okay, 9 to 9th power of 9, 9 being the highest of numbers. Okay, that we presently know of. Okay, so just like to say that. So going back to this here, Patatuta affirmation, we say, I'm inside the divine love of the all expanding, and all divine love is inside me. Now, what this is the epitome of the ontological forces and what it represents. We call it.
Copy.
Huh? Okay. You can have this copy afterwards. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So this is in Miss Batia we would say Anukija with pa shugem pa wood o kalala shokonja with nia. That's how we say it. We say tones, frequencies, and vibration. Okay. So it says, I am a part of the all expanding, and the all expanding is a part of me. Now, being that part of the all expanding is all space, all matter, and all time, absolute, infinite, and eternal in all directions. When we say absolute, we mean totality. When we say infinite, we say it means boundless. And when we say eternal, we mean timeless. The power of all those forces that's within Pa'od is also within us. Those forces, those ontological forces that created the universes are also within inside of us. So we too have those creative forces, or those creative powers within inside of us. Also, one thing we need to do is come to the self-realization of that, and that in itself is a journey. So that means that you will have access, or we will have access to all, meaning what not only the living, but also the realm of what they refer to as the realm of the dead, or different higher dimensions. Okay. The thing is that when we go to sleep, we access those planes, or a portion of those planes. We access a portion of those planes. You go to sleep. Okay, so I just wanted to break down the word ontology. The word ontology is of Greek derivation on being, and logia is study, basically the study of being or existence. Nature is within these ontological forces of natural nature, and those ontological forces of natural nature is what another term we'd use would be animism, or we say the word we use in Mispatia is we are muftaris. The word muftar from the word fatir, which is nature. So we are of natural nature, and the higher beings are of natural nature. Okay, but what we have to do is realign ourselves with those creative forces. Okay, and this entails physical and spiritual practices are taught by way of the master teacher, Panababiyananan, and what we are taught in Wu-Sabat. Before we continue, anyone got any questions thus far? Let's say Akar Ra'a Shafaf Ra, Rohubat Moisar from Houston, Katy, Texas, and Atum Ray Kemet, Rohubat Moisar from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's say Rohubat. Right, no questions thus far? Rohubat.
There are questions, but they're not so directly related with the topic today. So let me know what is the proper time to address them related with the Patarak chapter 30.
Let the question be asked, please. Yeah.
Okay, the questions, actually the 2 points on the Patarak chapter 30. On the verse 89, you have the book there, or the scroll with you?
No, what's the name of it? Is there a name on it?
Patarak chapter 30.
Okay, no, just read the excerpt first, please, can you? Just,
Okay,
okay.
to 89. Let me open my draft here, which have the questions. Okay, is actually 88, verse 88 and 94 to 96. So verse 88 says, she knows the importance of the first weeks of her pregnancy between the 6th and the 9th week, and the effects of it will have on the nature and health of the child. So then I jump to 94 and 96, which are related. Your child may be born a true feminine. 95. Your child may be born a true masculine. 96. Or the 6th to the 9th week in the womb, our child or your child, because of the chromosomes, may be born a feminine in a masculine body or masculine in a feminine body. So here goes the question. The question is, what or how the femininity and masculinity of the child can be affected during this 6th and 9th week, during pregnancy?
Yeah, that's a very good question. A lot of it is determined by way of the female, the mother, and her mindset and how she thinks. So that's basically what it is. You know, let's put it like this: is that let me say it like this. The mother is the one who forms and fashions the child within her womb. Okay, before I go there, let's say like this. People often say, especially those in religion, will say that, do you believe in God? And we say, we don't believe in God because each and every one of us is a God. But you say, you never created yourself. No, I never created myself, But what I did do, if you got children, you created your child. What do you mean by that? Because the mother and father are the personal creators of each child. And the forces of nature are the impersonal creators. So the divine, or that the divine came through the sperm of the male, and when the sperm fertilized the egg, the mitochondria, which is in the sperm, broke away, and within the head of the sperm is the cellular DNA, or the characteristics of the father. So when the egg, or when the sperm fertilizes the egg and the tail drops off, the mother, she has the cellular DNA and the mitochondrial DNA within the egg. The father only carries the cellular DNA, or let's say the male characteristics. The lineage is carried away of the mother, from mother to daughter. So now, when they fertilize, when the sperm and the egg meet and fertilization occurs, the creative processes now occurs within the female. In her, the word uses raham or womb. And her mentality, depending on her mental state, can determine whether that child will be a full feminine or a fully masculine. Or they can determine whether that feminine child will have a masculine nature, or the male child will have a feminine nature. Okay? So it's really determined or based upon the mindset or the mind state of the feminines. That's why when a female is pregnant, it's imperative that she's in a serene environment, for lack of a better word. Okay? Because there's a lot of responsibility that's placed on the feminines. See? So I hope that helped answer the question.
Well, Zamal, thank you for explanation.
Okay.
However, I would love to have more on the how, because I understand they can be affected, as the text states, but I don't know how it can be affected on the mother, because what are the, or let's put it another way, what are the actions, behaviors that one should proceed during that time, the 6th and the 9th week of pregnancy, to make sure that the mother has a child that is full, either masculine or feminine, throughout the pregnancy. Because, we've been through this. I'm a father, and it happens, of course, and we didn't have the knowledge then. I'm just praying about it to make sure that probably on the next opportunity that I can also share with other people. But I have one more question.
Go ahead.
This one is exhausted.
Go ahead, Zuma.
Okay, actually, the next one is more of explanation on the, let's say, 126 on the same book, chapter 30, chapter 30, on the verse 126, which says, "They say light-colored eyes are pretty eyes. Light skin tone is red-born. If Negroid, brown if Indian, red if American Indian, black if African, and beautiful light or white, pink if European. It's albino if negroid, or mulatto if mixed, and then there are sub-races who came from mixing with one of the root races, negroids, mongoloids, or caucasoids. Yet, only the caucasoid will claim the race. If you are mixed, you are not one of them. You lost your beauty. You are not pretty. So I did not understand. That's why I'm asking for explanation, especially on the first part about the claiming of what we are or the beauty. Understand that as much as we mix as Negroes, Lagaro, we mix with other races, they will never take us as them. That is clear. But when it comes to the first part where it says the color of the eyes and the mixing, what this actually means in terms of effect to our races, because it comes as a negative connotation to it.
Okay, with the light eyes, yeah, all that is part of the programming. All that is part of the programming, and to want to have a child because so that you can to want to have a child so it has like light eyes or a light colored skin. What that individual is saying is that, the master teacher says it like this as well. He goes that God made a mistake, of how I look. We see, unfortunately, a lot of our sisters with the weave on. What they're actually saying is God made a mistake, so I shouldn't be look like this. In actuality, the darker the complexion, the darker the eyes, the more nappy the hair, it refers to the fact that the stronger the genes. See, or to put another way, the more supreme the individual, or like as in the Negroid race. So to detract from that mind state of love of self and kind, the society that we live in will propagate that having light eyes and getting a child that's light skinned and flank dead hair or flank dead fur, we just say, is more attractive than having dark skin, dark eyes and woolly hair that grows towards the sun, moon and the stars. See, so that breeds hatred of self and kind and love of other than self and kind. You see, and that also has an effect on the mind of the individual, and because anything that affects the mind ultimately would have an effect on the action, because wherever the mind goes, the body will follow. You see, so that's why the master teacher says we need to become brainwashed. What do you mean brainwashed? Because when we have those because of how it's been propagated, is that we become brain dirtied, and we need to wash our mind. I mean, wash it with right knowledge, or we call it. We need to, hear this term, reverse engineer our mind and our thinking. That's what we call it, reverse engineer our mind. And that is the purpose of Wu-Sabat, reverse engineer how we think. And by reverse engineering how we think, we reverse our actions, we work in conformity to how we think. Now, I just want to say this. We talked about earlier on how the Egyptian mystery systems, others came in and they learned from us, okay, from those vulnerable black masters. What they done is they took what they learned and they reversed it and fed it back to us. They gave us let's say, religion is one of the major tools that they use. But this is what we have to do now. Take that and we reverse it and give it back to us. So that's why we call it reverse engineering our minds. So, or the word that they use in a negative connotation is we need to become brainwashed. When your shirt color's black, you have to wash it. So you have to say about how when your mind is black and dirty, well, you have to want black. When your brain's dirty, you have to wash it. Wash your brain. Become brainwashed. So it's nice and clean. So we begin to think straight. We stand straight. We begin to, the master teacher says it like this. We're no longer on an understanding, looking up. We now begin to have an we now elevate to have an overstanding looking down. Let's see. So I hope that helps.
Roundabout Samal.
Oh, Rockabouts,
Sorry,
Samantha.
is it Tammy McRae? Oh, did you have a question, Tammy?
Yes. Since he's on the topic about child having a baby and stuff, a question in the scroll, who is God, female or male, verses 124 through 129, describes what causes a child to be born with a male body and a female spirit. Could you explain how a child is born with a female body and a male spirit?
Can you, do you have that scroll on your Samantha?
Yes.
You want to read an excerpt for us, please?
Verse 124. Then one portion over the other gains an advantage in growth. If a male chromosome is present, it is the testicular tissue. The tissue grows out of the female, yet the second X will become defected into Y or incomplete, lacking the lower 1/4 stem. The result is anha, she, transformed into an anhu, he, by this tissue enlarging, and it begins the secretion of the XY male sex hormone, which in turn stimulates the development of male sexual ducts. The external genitalia, and it inhibits the growth of ovarian part of the gonad and of other female gonad. Yet in many cases, the Korad child is born male body and female spirit.
Okay. Can you, what verse is that, Samantha?
Verse 124 through 129.
Can you go back, 124, can you go back to about 123, please?
Okay, read one, just 123.
Yeah, and read it back, and read it on after that, because you've got something you have to go back a few verses to get what the master. I don't have that scroll with me, unfortunately.
Okay, verse 123. So many defects you see even today, genetic deficiencies and chromosome distortion, which results in such things as Siamese twins as a result of the original crossbreeding of different species. Then one portion over the other gains an advantage in growth. If a Y male chromosome is present, it is the testicular tissue. This tissue grows out of the female, yet the second X will become defected into Y or incomplete, lacking the lower 1/4 stem. The result is anha, she, transformed into an anhu, he, by this tissue enlarging, and it begins the secretion of the XY male sex hormone, which in turn stimulates the development of male sexual ducts. And external genitalia, and it inhibits the growth of ovarian part of the gonad and of other female organs. 129. Yet in many cases, the Korad child is born male body and female spirit.
Right. Can you read the next one? What's the next verse?
130. It's not a choice, it is genetics.
Right, yeah. So what it's saying here is that what they're saying is that there are higher forces now that is now taking effect on that child. So it's like natural nature. It's just producing a child to be that way, to be that way inclined. So it's just like when you have like what they refer to as people who are, let's say, gay, for lack of a better word. Some of them are that way by way of nature, and others are that way by way of the environment that they live in. Okay. So he does say that there are those who have, what he's saying there is that you got those, you may have a male that has a female spirit or personality, and you also have females that have a male personality. So, I mean, the brothers, is it in there?
I think it's in the Sahuti's Vision touches on it.
Does that help, Zamalta?
And also other Circle of Existence.
I haven't got that one there.
Let me try and find it on
Zamal, which scroll does Zamal tell me was reading from?
What was that, Zamalta, that scroll?
yeah, Circle of Existence,
I think it was, I can't remember. What's it? Tammy, Zamalta, Tammy.
Okay, who is God, female or male? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. Who is God, female or male? I don't have that particular scroll. Yeah. Oh, it's got it here.
Sahuti's Vision, verse 90, or you can read before that.
Okay, I just want to read. Okay, Zamal just handed me this scroll, Sahuti's Vision. Hopefully this will answer your question. Let's have a look. Let's read it. It's I'll start from page... Okay, I'm just going to start from page 19. Okay, let's read from page 19 and verse 19. It reads, Then the Huti desired to know why mortals should be deprived of immortality, judged for what they had no part in becoming. If a male body has a female mind and spirit, or if a female body has a male mind and spirit, that is what they are by way of natural nature. 91. That is creation of the original root race, the being high, equal, perfect as all others. So you have XX or YX or XY or XYX or YXY, even XXY and YXX. The 7 states of being all exist, all are equal, is their own right as created, formed and fashioned, made, grown and born. It's got, before the next, I'll read 92. 92. There is no evil or sin or wickedness in being what one is born to be. No shame, no regret for the divine plan. So it's all a divine plan. Now, I'll go back to 91 and it says this. I'll read that again. That is creation of the original root race, the being high, which is in the garden adults, equal, perfect as all others. You have XX or YX. So XX is feminine. When it says YX, you're saying here a feminine that has a masculine spirit. And when it's, or XY, which is a male, or YXYX. So they've got 3 different chromosomes within inside of them. So this is again, this is XYX. These are your who are these? So I can't remember what you said here about the XYX. Sorry, XYX. These are your hermaphrodites, that's it. And YXY, these are your hermaphrodites. Because even you have XXY and YXX. Well, I don't know what these are as well. Okay. So what he's saying here, the 7 states of being, all exist, all born, all are equal, is their own right as created, formed, fashioned, made, grown, and born. So this is all, as it says here, this is all part of a divine plan. That is what it is. I'll continue to read 93. So I hope that helps, Amalta.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I just want to read 93 to continue on that. The great Asar answered to the ignorant, the body is supreme, and they are incapable of realizing the immortality that is within them, knowing only the body, only what they think they see on the outside of a temple. The temple can be destroyed. What was learned inside can never be altered or forgotten. The body is subject to death. The soul inside can never be altered or forget. The outside of the temple, as the outside of the body, can be changed, yet that does not, cannot, will not change its true purpose, its reality. I'll continue reading. So what it's saying here is that on the outside, because with these different type of states, XX, YX, or XY, or YXY, etc., etc., that breeds a certain type of mindset that's within inside the individual, and that is just how natural nature works. But what he's saying is that no matter what they do to the outside, that's what they are inside, and they cannot be changed. 94. The ignorant only fear what they feel from inside and hide what they know is calling out to be noticed. But in death, once they shed their garment of flesh and the outer garments over which they covered it, 95. All that is physical or matter will change its appearance and become dust without shape, form, or identity. Not recognizable, gender. But what was hidden inside of the real being will remain unaltered. So they fear death because they worship what they only see of substance, which is the cause and reality of death. Death has no gender, nor does its twin, who is known as sleep. Okay, so in answer to your question, Samalta, that is just how natural nature works in terms, as it says, got a little diagram here of the gender seal.
Zamal, I don't know whether you want to do a further build, but there's I've got M other, which I normally
Okay,
call mine.
want to read it out, Samalt,
Yeah,
first,
read
please?
it, okay.
Got another brother going to add a further build, Samalta, to your question.
Okay.
Okay, so this is from M other, Circle of Life. Yet, I'm going to read. Yet the 6th week is also when a host spirit is allowed to enter the Raham womb. Gender does not matter. So let me read a bit further back. So this is from M other Circle of Life. Verse.
Which verse is on M other?
This is verse 133, page 14.
Page 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what verse 129? The woman's khatat body must also be clear of parasites, drugs, alcohol, all of which affect her in order to be able to conceive. Verse 130. So it really takes Satu Dawarat, 6 cycles, that is 6 months or Dawarat cycles, to balance her chemistry. Verse 131. The waiting spirit lurks to re-enter this Tapa world by permission of their Muslafu ancestors or Khawa'at oversouls who watch over them. So who watch over Hayut life and Mawat death and rebirth cycles. Verse 132. Again, it is Satu Dawarat's 6 cycles of ovulation before she can become pregnant. Verse 133. Then the Lalut night of sexual relation, or the first forward, which is the 9th backward month, day of conception, the 9th or first month, the night the Matau sperm carried by the Manam semen swims for 6 to 9 days in the Raham womb to meet the Hathath ovum. Verse 134. Once conception begins, then between the 6th to 9th week is when the spirit person is born, its gender. Verse 135. Yet at the 6th week is also when a whole spirit is allowed to enter the Raham womb. Gender does not matter. Yet it can affect the unborn Mukhrad child, who may, if overpowered by the whole spirit, will be a Fateh Mukhrad boy child with a powerful female host spirit, or a Fateh Tat girl with male host spirit. This will fade by age tassel 9 unless born to a bisexual, or affect the tissue and gender, then they are born to be a muhnashtat, hermaphrodite, or muhnash, hermaphrodite, or what's termed a transsexual person. Verse 139. Yet, if the original spirit is more powerful, the muhrad child will be born in its correct gender. Verse 140. Yet, the muhrad child will still be a host up to age 9. So, it's like this. Ka'ah spirit exists. That time, the spirit host is allowed to enter a Asha female and is with her until the Tasan Kabut 9th month of birth or the born date. The host spirit is then part of the newborn and no longer a part of the Mudatat mother, and it can stay with the Mukhrad child up to the age of 6 to 9. When the spirit has completed its purpose, that's talking about the other part with the spirit and, your grandfather or one of your spirit parents, you know that one, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, should I reread?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, should I reread? Okay.
Sorry, Samantha, you getting that? Does that make
Yes,
sense?
I'm getting it. I'm understanding what you're saying.
Right, okay. I'll jump to verse 148. So 147. So it can also be more than one spirit host born in a mushkhas person. So they have split personalities or multi-personalities. Verse 148. Some have their own nasabu relatives inside their bodies, while others are not related. Verse 149. So a mushkhas person can be born into a multi-spirit host. Some don't come forth until they grow. Some spirit hosts enter once they are grown. And this unknown Western world, because of their za'amus, ghalan, religious ignorance, do not know how to deal with them, so they drug them or put them in mental institutions. Some ka'ah, muhwan, spirit beings can be nahes, evil, and speak inside their heads. Some can be jawed, wicked, demonic fallen angels. So you have savants born with talents, skills, and some people are born mediums, caught between this madra realm and the spirit realm. And it goes on about the spirit and the conception further on. So each person has their mother's past 4 generations of Munsabu relatives, and their father's past 4 Tanbu'at generations of relatives, and all who they mixed with, all speaking from inside. You call them, they said, and you can be born with one spirit or more than one, or just the one you are to share a Hayut Dawarat life cycle, or be returned over and over until a perfected spiritual being grows into a Ba'ah soul. But would you like to reread from the top again?
That's all right. It's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot there, yeah. Well,
So the essence is that during conception, there is outside, but there are influences, divine influences that can affect the mentality of the child while still doing conception. Okay, and these forces can be agreeable and or disagreeable, and the effect comes by way of the father, 4 generations down from the father, his mother and father going back 4 generations, and on the side of the female going back down 4 generations. So they all have an effect on that unborn child. Okay, and so basically, plus you got forces, external forces that also can have an effect on the unborn child, or I'll say unborn, but yeah, the unborn child, for lack of a better word. So that has an effect on their mentality and also an effect on their chromosomes as well. See, while still in the womb of the mother. See, so basically there's external forces, for lack of a better word, that has an effect. Let's see.
Rahubat,
Rockabad. Hope that helped, Tammy.
I I'm sorry, I missed the title of the scroll he was reading from.
It was
M other circle of existence.
M other circle of existence. You're welcome, Zamaltat.
Actually, I'm not sure if you've addressed the questions in the chat as well
Uh,
on Zoom.
No, can you? We haven't addressed. Can you answer that as well? Can you ask those questions, please?
So you've got Astro Bachelor.
Okay.
Who are the beings that are coming for us 9 ether people? They will give us back our barothric land. Who are these beings?
Okay. Well, they're not coming. They're here. The one you refer to really is the master teacher. Okay. But to give you back the barotheric gland, what happened in is 2 processes. One, you're born with it, and the other, it has to be reinserted. And that will happen, only the elite few will be privileged of that, of the barotheric gland. So the answer to your question would be, the one who's sent is the master teacher, you see. But he also mentions that there are Ethereans with him who have not been exposed. Okay, so we're basically, the answer to your question is that you've got the higher beings. Okay.
You ready for the next one?
Next one, please.
This is Asset Hitep. Can you please give an example of what type of mental space would create either scenario?
Repeat the question, please, Samal.
Yeah. Can you please give an example of what type of mental space would create either scenario?
What scenario?
That goes back to when you were talking about the male child with feminine energy, or female child with masculine energy, and you were talking about it depends on the mentality of the mother. And I was just wondering if you could give an example of what type of mentality or mental vibration would create either scenario.
All right, yeah, the master did say that the female should be really in a serene environment for as much as she can throughout her pregnancy, you see. That's it, basically. Here in the West, though, we are a product of the environment that we live in. So the environment has a direct influence on especially the unborn child. And as we read earlier on, you also got forces or let's say divine forces that can also have an influence on the unborn child as well. You see, as we read it on from that scroll, M other circle of existence. So we purchased that particular scroll, and that would point you in the right direction. Okay. Hope that helps, Maltat. If not, then.
2 hours. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody? Any more questions on Zoom?
Yes. The title of the scroll, is it M as in the letter M, circle of life, or?
That's it. Yeah, M dash other circle of existence. That's it. M dash other circle of existence. Okay. Any more questions on Zoom? Got nothing on Clubhouse. In the house? Oh.
I asked the question regarding natural nature laws.
Natural nature laws.
Yes. So my question, it was a 3-part question. Are they being controlled by higher beings?
The laws, yes and no. What is that Yes or no? It's a very good question. What we need to do, the first step is to recognize that there are natural nature has laws that we should align ourselves with. And these laws are perpetual and forever working through us, in us, and around us. So that's the first thing, is basically our minds. That's the key. The key is to recognize the fact that we have to, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. We have a God mind. And that God mind is what links us to the divine. And we have to, I know not everybody is really into chanting, not everybody's into doing prayers and all the spiritual works, but that helps. We also need to have what's referred to as to be introspective, looking, taking that journey within inside ourselves, because the laws are the one scroll that would really help point you in the right direction would be the sacred wisdom of Tahuti. Because within that particular scroll, we have what's referred to as the 9 doctrines, or they say the 9 principles of Tahuti. Just want to pull this up here. There are 9 doctrines or principles of Tahuti. This particular scroll is like an operating system. That the first principle is mental. That's the first one. The 9 doctrines or principles is first is mental. Mental being that all is mind and mind is all. And what we need to do is realize that once we are in, the scientific term is synchronicity with these laws or rules of nature, then things work towards our advancement, knowing these subtle laws. But what has happened is this environment has been so constructed that it wants to put a block on the God mind or the divine mind of everyone on the planet Earth. Everybody has a divine mind. But let's say, as it relates to us as Nagara Nadu Negroes, we have a God mind, we have what we call a human mind, we also have the devil mind. And the system or this construct that we live in propagates us being or thinking that we are just a mere mortal, and propagates the devil mind. The devil mind is that mindset state that commits murder, lies, cheat, steal, and rob. The God mind is that mindset that aligns us to the higher ideals or the higher principles that the higher forces that's within us allows us to basically co-create our own reality. See, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because my question was like these forces of natural nature, of which you answered that they are being controlled by habits. So my other follow-up questions would be, if that's the case, so does the personal biases of those higher beings affect the kind of laws they make for us? Or how does it happen?
Right. I think I get the question that you are asking. Let me just read an excerpt from the Sacred Wisdom. Right. There are laws. Let me read an excerpt from here. Okay, this is from This is from the Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti. I'm reading from chapter 5, page 102, and it reads, the all is physical and all is spirit. The all is physical and all is spirit. But what is spirit? There are many degrees or vibrational modes to spiritual existence or spirit beings. This question cannot be answered by just saying the spirit is this or that, body or exoplasma. The reason is that its definition is practically that the all is a form of God which cannot be explained or defined in religion or faith, but science is the key. Now, when the Master says here science is the key, that particular science is referenced to is called quantum physics. Because quantum physics is the scientific explanation of spirituality. They now understand that they call it synchronicity when you are in line with these spiritual forces, and they also know that we have what's referred to as multiple potentials. Life does not move in one direction. We have multiple potentials or possibilities or outcomes. The Master Teacher put it like this: the future has already happened and the past is still happening. Now, that is a confession that there's a word called pre-existence. Existence is finished. All we are doing is aligning our minds to, let's say, the mental realm and creating that image in our mind's eye from the mental realm, and all we do is manifesting. So there's nothing new, as I say, under the sun. So those laws or those rules that is put into place, we can also access those laws and rules. The higher up, they call it the law or the principle of cause and effect. I just want to read that as well. That's what comes to mind. Just find it here. It's again comes from the Sacred Wisdom. Right, here it is. This is again. Okay. And this is page 76. This principle, the doctrine of cause and effect, this principle embodies the fact that there is a cause, a reason, for every effect, and an effect from every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance or luck. The reason for there is no chance or luck is because it's called, basically, it's just alignment. Are you a lucky guy, lucky individual? Not luck, it's the fact that you are in alignment with that happens to you. Once you recognize that you are in alignment or in synchronicity with these forces, this thing called luck, or manifestation, we should say, becomes more and more apparent. So the little things, I always give the example of you're driving and you're thinking to yourself, you want to go to a particular location and you want a parking space. Lo and behold, there's a parking space. Oh, you just happen to be lucky. It's not luck, it's called alignment. And little things like that, once you begin to recognize that, these things become more frequent. It's called alignment. That's all it is, you see. Okay, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Egyptians understand the art and methods, basically the practices and methods, the science of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to a higher plane, they become causes with effects happening within itself. When it says by mentally rising to a higher plane, their mind is now elevated, and to become causes, meaning that they are now, by way of their mind, they're now able to produce a cause that creates a desired effect. Okay, they become causes with effects. They're the ones who create a cause that results in an effect. The masses of people are carried along, obedient to the environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves. So now they're just like fish. Oh, it says it here. Hereditary, suggestion, and other outward causes move them about like fish on the hook of life. So now we now become subject to the environment in which we live in. We need to reach that point whereby we are in control of ourselves and our lives. But the masters rising to the place above dominate above the, let's say, the environment mentally. But the masters rising to the place above dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become fishers of men instead of fish. Fishers of men, they now teach others of how to elevate themselves. They help to play the game of life instead of being played and moved about by other wills and environment. Meaning that the people who construct this environment has done it in such a way that we become a slave to the environment. But once we have elevated our minds, we no longer become played by those other people's wills and the environment. We become, like, say, the ones who move the pieces on the chessboard. They, says the masters, use the principle instead of being its tools. The masters obey the causation of the higher planes, but they help to rule on their own plane. So there are laws on higher planes that even the masters have to abide by, but on their plane, say on the physical plane, they help or participate in the rule of this plane. In this statement, there's a condensed wealth of Egyptian knowledge. I hope that helps Zamal. That there are laws and laws and laws, and we can.
Yes, just
Hope yeah, to what? The scroll to read on that is the Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti. That's the one to read. That will. You're welcome, Zamal. Any more questions on Zoom? Anything on Clubhouse?
Wrong back, brother.
Rohobat, Zamal.
Wrong back. Partial to you and the family out there, man.
Tawatak, Zamal.
So, my question today is there any type of consciousness in the very air that we breathe in?
Is there any type of consciousness in?
In the very air we breathe in the air that we breathe in. Was there any type of consciousness in it?
Yes, you're 100% right. There is consciousness in it. What do you mean by that? When we say the air we breathe, put it like this: we have the earth, we have the air, or we say we have the air, we have the wind. Sorry, the wind, the air. We have the water, and we have the sun. These are, talking to a guy who work about this. These are what we call its, and they are without any one of these its, because there's no gender. You know, when you say what's the gender of the air, what's the gender of the earth, what's the gender of the sun? It has no gender. It is both masculine and feminine principles. But there is consciousness, or there's consciousness and there's conscientiousness, meaning it has intelligence and they are living entities. It's alive in that it's what sustains us. See if you can hold your breath. You can only hold your breath for X amount of what minutes, if possible. Then you know all about it. The same with the water. All the four elements. The water. We need water. We need water to sustain us. We need air to sustain us. We need the earth to sustain us, and we need the sun to sustain us. So they have consciousness and conscience, as I say, alert. But the consciousness is of a different nature to how we know it here as physical beings. But the air is also physical because it can be detected by our senses. Okay, so it's physical. The only thing is that we cannot see it.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, it has consciousness, but not to that degree.
Right.
Okay.
No, what was you saying? Sorry for cutting you off, bro.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one more question.
Go ahead, Samuel.
So, in the West, in the English language, when the person asks, what day is it? They're actually asking for just the day, the daytime. They're not including the nighttime. So, I was wondering, those are two separate states. If the way I'm thinking about it, I see it as a nighttime and a daytime. So, and actually, when you say today, you're actually saying today. So, am I catching on to something there, or is there something I need to be understood about that?
Yeah. You see, the English language is very ambiguous because according to their Bible stories, the day for lack of a better word, the day started during the evening and ended at dawn. That was according to the Bible stories. But when they say night and day, that is also a trick. What it is that all it is that this planet Earth rotates around the sun, and the part that's referred to as night is the planet is just in the shadow of the sun. The sun is always shining, but it's just that that portion of the planet that's not in direct position to receive the rays of the sun is in what we call the shadow hour. So it really should be the shadow hour period and not night. Night refers to the absence of light. See, so it's a trick that they play on us with words. So according to the Bible, you read the Bible carefully. It says that it was evening and morning was the first day. That morning would be dawn. So really, the so-called daytime would be what they refer to as the daytime hours would be, according to the Bible, would be I don't know what other word to use.
Shadow hour.
The shadow hour. The daytime hours would be the shadow hours, and the nighttime from dusk until dawn would be the daylight hours, for lack of a better word. So basically, it's backward, according to the Bible that people read.
Okay. So does that have any effect on timing or the timing that we've been taught about?
Yeah. Again, that's a very good question. The master teacher put it like this: that time is an illusion in the physical. Time is just an illusion, but he referred to it as fake time. Let me just read an excerpt from the Holy Tablets, because the master teacher addresses that very well in the Holy Tablets. You're looking at chapter 1 of the Holy Tablets. So I just want to say this, that time is an illusion. We have what we call real time, we have fake time, and we have our own zero time reference. Now, the zero, let me just read it here from the Holy Tablets. So you get a better understanding of that. Each individual, this is Holy Tablets chapter 1, this is page 69, chapter 1, tablet 7, reading from verse 88. Each individual has a zero time reference, a tone reference, and a vibrational level. When it says zero time reference, that's the time where it was conceived. And tone reference, that's based upon our voice box and how we speak. That we vibrate on a particular tone reference, and a vibrational level, how our body vibrates. 89. Yet you exist all in what's called set time, and set time, which exists within real time. That is each individual's real time, their point of origin. Now we have what we refer to as, before there's conception, there's inception, which is the moment before the sperm fertilizes the egg. When the sperm fertilizes the egg, that point is called conception, and when we are born, that's called reception. Okay. So there's different time, for lack of a better word, time frames. I just want to jump to Rahubat.
Could you go back the reception again for me, please?
Right, yeah. We have what we call, they say the conception, then you say you're born. But before there's conception, there's a period called inception. And that inception period is the time before the sperm fertilizes the egg. That's called inception. Then when the sperm fertilizes the egg, so that inception period is also a time period. When conception occurs, that's another time period. And when a child is born or reception, that's another time period or time reference that is given. So what it is that we are taught that when a child is born, that's their that is when time starts, but times for that individual, but that time starts way before, during conception. I just want to read, and in terms of time, before we go into conception, etc., etc., let's read this section here from the Holy Tablets. On page 69, this is verse 93. Time does not move forward, nor has it come from behind. It has always been. Time does not ascend upward, nor has it descended from above. Time is now, now is time, time is. Then, now is not then. So, the Master Teacher put it like this. The future has, we said it earlier on, the future has already happened and the past is still happening. So this time frame is something is a trick that kind of messed up our minds. But because we live in this time frame, so we don't get messed up, we have to go with it. Because when you go to sleep, what time frame are you operating by when you're sleeping? You're conscious, when you're sleeping, when you're in that sleep state, you're not operating you're on a different time frame. You're on what's referred as a universal time frame, a real time frame. I just want to jump to verse 4. This is tablet 8, verse 4, reads, each individual conceived has a zero time reference from the moment of inception, the moment or incident in pure and holy darkness, before cause or effect, before right and wrong, good and evil, before chaos and conception, process or growth in the impure and unholy light of this world, where there is will, good and evil things happening. The point 5, that point is real time in each individual existence in the physical world. From the point, from conception is fake time. You hear that? So, inception, from the moment of inception, the moment or incident. So, just before the sperm fertilizes the egg, that's called real time or zero time reference. And how they log it, in the physical world, from the point of conception is fake time. Verse 6, you exist in what's called set time. You set the time for life to death. It all exists before you and will exist after you. They talk about time, universal time or galactical time, which is outside this earth time. You and your life is only a point or short space in real time which exists in all when the light of life is cut on. 8. It begins real time, yet existence already was in pure and holy darkness and under set time is each individual's real time existence, their point of origin. It's a bit jumbled up here. But what he's saying here is that we live in multiple time frames. And the one is that really affects us a lot is this thing called set time, which is the so-called 24-hour clock that has an effect on our minds. Okay. But however, we have to live, because we have to live we have to go along with this set time, but know that we can travel in and out of this so-called set time and move into different time frames or different dimensions. So the 24-hour clock is only relative to this three-dimensional plane or this three-dimensional world that we live in. Outside of that, you're not governed by, or time is not governed by what happens in this three-dimensional realm. Okay, so I hope that helps, Zamaltat.
Yes, it is, Zamal. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
So we'll talk tomorrow.
You're welcome, Zamaltat. Nicole? Anybody else? Any more questions?
Did you mention a 25-hour clock, or is it just...
No. What?
Did you say the 25-hour clock?
Oh, sorry, the 24-hour.
Did you say a 25-hour clock?
24-hour clock.
Oh, my bad, I didn't.
Yeah.
My bad.
So the time is the trick and the trap, you see. So, okay.
Testing.
This one? So we just, okay, right. So we're just fixing the volume here. Okay.
Testing, 1, 2.
Okay. So I just want to say that, so we live in what is referred to as a world of reality and illusion. And the question to ask is reality and illusion opposites? And if you look at first, is reality and illusion opposites? The first we need to look at is this word called opposites. The opposite means contrary, entirely different to something else. And if you look at the definition of word reality and illusion, and when you Google it, this is what comes up in terms of reality. Reality is generally considered opposing concepts. What is actually happening, or what exists independently of our perception. Illusion says a false, a misleading perception of something, a misrepresentation of reality. Reality and illusion are generally considered opposing concepts. Reality refers to the state of things as they actually exist, while illusion refers to a false, misinterpreted perception of reality. The reality is that the world we live in is the illusion. And what they're actually saying here, illusion is in actuality reality. Because it's like this. Now this, I'm going to say now, flips the lid on belief. When we say belief, right, especially from a religious perspective, they say that that you could use, in religion, they say us to believe in something that cannot be proven. But, so, if something cannot be confirmed, then that in itself is an illusion. Once something can be confirmed, it's no longer illusion, it's reality. Now, in terms of this word belief, in the Quran, they use the word saying you've got to believe in the unseen. But to believe in the unseen, what it means is like this, before I explain that. When we first enter into Wu-Sabat, or hear the teachings of the master teacher, something inside of us says, this is real, I know it. So you start taking the steps, and those first few steps really is based on belief. And as you begin to walk, you begin to grow out of belief into knowing, into confirmation. But hear this now. To bring something or to manifest using our nine mind, we got to create a belief system in our mind. And we have to believe that what we are imagining or creating or co-creating in our mind's eye, the more belief we give to that unseen realm would manifest physically. So the physical senses that we utilize, we got to utilize those senses in that unseen realm. So we got to believe it, then we will see it. Not see it or believe it when I see it. It's the other way around. In order for us to see it, we've got to believe it first. And that's how it works in the unseen realm, or the realm of mental. So when it says here illusion is a false or misleading perception of something, a misrepresentation of reality. This world we live in is a misrepresentation of reality, because reality is unseen. You get that? Let's put it like this. Before a thing manifests, it had to manifest in the mind first. Then it materializes physically. Things don't just happen like that. That's the effect. There's a cause. When we talk about cause and effect, the cause is actually in our mind. It's unseen. And the more we use our physical senses to tap into that realm, it will then manifest. I just want to read it. I know it's a concept that we have to align ourselves with. I want to read something here. This is what I got from Google about this. It is said that we live in a world of illusion and irreality. However, the two are interconnected, as illusions are often derived from sensory experiences or the mind's interpretation of reality. So when we dream, are we dreaming, or the dreams that we dream, is that an illusion or is that reality in that dream state?
According to...
When we dream, is a dream state an illusion or reality?
I think aligning with what you said previously, I think it would be reality, the dream state.
You know, why is the dream state a reality? Give the problem back the mic. Keep it going. Why is the dream state to you a reality?
I mean, it's unseen in the physical realm, but I would say that's why it's reality.
Hear this now. You're dreaming, you're asleep, you're dreaming. I cannot see your dreams. No one can see your dreams except for you. unless you're a spiritual master, you can walk into your dreams. But you cannot see your dreams when you're dreaming. But when you are dreaming, you are seeing it. You're seeing things in detail in your dreams, but your eyes are closed. You're hearing people speak in your dreams, but you're asleep. They're not around. They're in your mind's eye. They're in your mind. So when you are dreaming, you are creating, you're in a state of reality. All your senses that you use when you are awake, using the same senses whilst you are asleep. I had a dream, I saw you in my dream. You see color, you hear sound, everything that you hear this, you perceive in the waking state, you perceive the same thing in the dream state. Correct?
So it's a reality.
So your dream state is a reality. Now hear this. You could induce that dream state while still awake. How you do that? There's many ways of doing it. One good example would be, you got the om tone playing. You had the tone, om, om, or you could chant it yourself, om, om. As you're chanting, or you got the om tone playing, breathe in and out. But when you're breathing in, you should use your diaphragm, and that's meaning that you breathe in deep, but push your stomach out in through the nose. Make it really tight, make your stomach tight, and relax. Relax. Keep that going. But let's say you got the om tone playing. To help you, if it's during the daytime, pull the blinds or put a candle on. But you're not staring at the candle. The light is just there on the candle. But maintain that breathing. We call it smay, but there are three parts. But just for simplistic terms, you're breathing in and you're pushing your stomach out. And you relax. Keep on doing that. Keep on doing that for a few minutes. After a few minutes, your mind, brainwave activity will start to drop down to what's referred to as the alpha level. That level is a state you drop down as you are going to sleep. In that state of perception, you can start creating. You can start creating within that state. The more you could visualize using your mind's eye that which you want in that state, you are what's referred to as co-creating. Hold it for keep on hold that state, hold the state. Then you come out of it. Come out of it, hold the candle. The more you can hold that image during your waking state, as you go about your business, you're now tapping into the higher realms. Those creative forces are now working with, for, and by you. The more you do that is when this thing called alignment or synchronicity, so they call it love, starts to happen. So now, you now bringing, you now being in that state to manifest that from the unseen realm to the seen realm. That's how it works. We do it all the time, but mainly it tends to happen more from negative manifestations. But when things don't go right in our lives, but we will have, in life there's challenges and there's opportunities. So when we say that this physical realm is the realm of illusion, and we say the unseen realm is the realm of reality, that unseen realm is where creation, or is where we are pulling from that realm to the physical to make things materialize. It's a concept that we have to get our heads around.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah. Can the manifestation be from thinking positive, or well, it should be positive, but can it also go into a negative as well?
Yeah.
You know, like you're saying, pulling down, and we all want it to be positive, but can it be a negative?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The deciding factor is our emotions. When things go wrong, our emotion, the more emotion we give to a thing, the quicker it manifests or it materializes. See, so what we materialize can be positive and or negative, depending on the amount of emotion that we give to it. You could be in a negative environment, but you reverse that environment by way of your mind, and you change it to positive, where the forces will start to work towards in your favor, as opposed to of not in your favor. The forces work regardless, whether it's positive or negative. That's how the forces work, because that's what we attract. They call it the law of attraction. See, but so it's your emotions that give birth to that which we want, or don't want. The more emotions that we give to that what we don't want, the more it will persist. The more emotions we give to that which we do want, the more quicker it will manifest. Let's see. And then the key to all is this thing called introspection, meaning that you start to take that journey inward, and know that the divine or the creative forces within inside each and every one of us. See. Now, that happens as an individual. When we all come together, that mindset, they call it a collective consciousness. Or they call it, in religion, they use the word a Christ consciousness or a universal consciousness. Or we say, Papa to all. We align ourselves with all existence. And so the faculties, the physical emotions that we have, what we see, hear, taste, touch and smell in the physical, we can use those 5 senses in our meditative or creative or visualization state to materialize that which we want.
Seriously, it's like everything just things that you just said. I'm literally it's really funny. I've read from ontology. If I think the book's upstairs, so if you want to read it from there yourself.
Okay.
But it's from ontology, and it's Egyptian ontology.
See if I've got it here.
Yeah. Is it upstairs? I think it's upstairs, isn't it? Yeah.
I haven't got that one.
You got it, yeah?
The wappi on
Yeah, you haven't got it, yeah.
Please, yeah. I haven't got it.
It's like literally everything you said is what I was either reading the other day. So this is more based on duality, but it still has a reference to what the brother Haptuyo's teaching. It says here, verse 11, you all try so very hard to affect other people in some way. If they disagree with you or what you have to offer, does that make you or them evil? Not at all. Then verse 12, that is merely an event created out of itself. And as thoughts and ideas exist purely on a spiritual abode from mental to mind, which becomes mine or my thoughts or thinking, it is open to other spirit forces that may come in on that vibration and take control of the situation to cause conflict, feeding the forces. That is because of number 3, or the third person or being. influence that which exists as indelible association between cause and effect, which as a single force can have effect of the two. 113. Also, this can be an action, emotion, and event. So through namuz, prayer, and ranum, chanting, you can channel and direct positive thinking, which can affect the outcome on both the spiritual and physical abodes. Again, a single action or third action affecting the outcome of two other causes change the course of future events. We ancient Egyptians took control of these powers as three forces: hika, hu, hika, and sia. The power of positive thinking and its effect on the physical world and living things. To think and direct actions can be successful or symbol inscriptions. We used hika powers in the form of art, jewels, amulets, and prayer beads. We were wearing them all the time in the form of signs, symbols, seals. And if given a personal seal by the Natharu, it became us and alike to his soul. In ancient Egypt, hika'a is an art we depended on. This relationship and power is very real. We, Ranuma, chanted to break spells and open gates to the other worlds of time and space, calling out our da'ut, which became prayer, calling. And in ancient Egypt, da'ut, the underworld, from which is called out your confessions. So it means voice, sound, tone, supplications. The Arabs got their word da'ut, prayer, supplication, from it. We recited incantations in order to reach our ancestors, and we even performed funeral rites in order to help the deceased make his or her way in the afterlife. No matter your relationship while alive, you relied on this new relationship and reconciliation between your life to reality, all existing as state of being, all in all. So just want to just build on what you said. Do you know what I mean?
Right. The Rabbi mentioned these three forces. All these are what we refer to. All these are what we refer to as the creative forces, and these creative forces are within inside of us, in us, for us, and around us. And I just want to read about the three forces that was mentioned, which is called. He mentioned about hu, hi, hika, and sia, and it's got here. Let me just read. This is from the Sacred Records of Atumre, the Black Book. I'm reading from page. Let's look at this. Okay. Let's start from 114. The Black Book, page 114, chapter 1, verse 296. It reads, question, who or what is who? In Egypt, hu-hi, which is who or hua, was considered a personification of utterance with which the creator Ptah, who was regarded as creator of the physical world and deity of technology, done its work. The higher beings, they also use these forces to bring things into materialization. The reason why I didn't say existence, because existence exists already. The term is pre-existence. So it all exists. All that's happened is calling these things into manifestation. Okay? So it's not like, so it says, in the Bible it says, on the sixth day God finished his work, etc., etc. It's not entirely wrong, you know. Existent, or in the creation finished, when I say there's nothing new under the sun, we're not creating nothing new. It's finished. All we're doing is pulling from the mental to our minds that becomes mind and materializing. Say something, brother, it's got something on his mind. Someone's got on his mind.
So you know how you say collective consciousness? Would you say the idea is out there already? and then you're pulling from the ideas in the collective consciousness.
Yeah. Hey, this.
In a way.
It's not even out there, it's within you. You know what I mean? Everything is within you. What it is that you got a cup, and the cup is in the room. So all that it's only the fact that the cup gives the illusion that everything is outside of the cup, whereas the cup is inside. So look, you've got that microphone in your hand. Look at the space in this room as all existing. You are that microphone, you are in the all. And the all is in you. This room is not outside of you because you are in the room. So the collective consciousness is not outside of you, it's inside of you because you are in the room. I'll let it get further. You are inside this shop. Let's call this shop Nashat, collective consciousness. It's not outside of you, it's inside of you because you're inside Nashat. That's the trick and the trap. But one thing, these are concepts that we have to now restructure in our minds. Oh, I get it now. I'm not pulling anything from outside of me. I'm pulling everything that's inside of me because I'm inside, I'm in the divine love of the all. And all love is in me. We're not outside of nothing. You see, these are concepts that we have to now align ourselves with. So we're not pulling out in. All we're doing is manifesting that which is inside of us. It's a concept, isn't it? Hang on, you're in the Nashat. Let's say Nashat is the all expanding. All you're doing is bringing in, how should I put it? You're choosing from the menu. That's what you're doing. It's all there. I want to have this, and this. And that's it. But it's there waiting for you. Do you want it or you don't want it? Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Is it like, pottery? When you've got the, what do you call it?
Clay?
The clay, right. So you have the clay's there, so it'll take your hands to mold it and shape it up and everything. So that will depend on you. You would have to do that. But it's right. There, the clay is there already.
That's right.
For you to mold.
Yeah.
Is it a similar thing or same thing?
It's the same thing. So, but there are forces that you can utilize to help accelerate the process. And these forces, that we call them one of many forces, but three he's got here, mentioned is Hu-hi, Hika, and Sia. So by way of chanting, you could materialize things or manifest things. By way of your mind, they call, let's have a look here. The chanting, you be using the force of Hu-hi. It's got here Hika. It's an anthropomorphic personification of miracles, meaning when they say anthropomorphic, meaning they attribute human characteristics to these forces. When they say attribute, the ancient Tamilians attributed human characteristics to these forces, what it means is that we knew that those forces are inside of us, in us, for us, and around us. So we just, to give it some form of identification, we anthropomorphized, or we attributed human characteristics to these forces, or even animal characteristics to these forces, you see. When you look at in our chants, we have like the 19 names of Panatharu. They're not names, they are like attributes of these forces that are in us. That are in the shack that we are in. It's a matter of you call upon this particular ontological force, you say it like that, you call upon these forces of existence, of natural nature, it can help speed up that which you want to materialize.
I can't help it, but
Hope it then, brother.
I can't help it because all I keep seeing when you're saying these things is like a cook or a chef. So if you look at females in the kitchen, yeah, I'm not being disrespectful or being, what's it called? But if you look at someone in the kitchen cooking, right, a chef or whatever, they got ingredients around them, don't they? And they pick from the ingredients to cook what they want for the family. And sometimes they enhance with a bit of salt, some herbs, etc., to bring out that tasty meal. You understand? You're creating something. Do you know what I mean? From your mind, you want everybody to enjoy that meal. So that's how I keep looking every time you're saying that. So I'm seeing these, this is the all in all. So I hope that kind of like...
Yeah. So, hear this now, what the brother's saying here, what Malam Usia is saying here is that the ingredients is there already. All you're doing, you don't need to go create a carrot because it's there already. All the ingredients is there. All you do is now, hang on, I want this. So you just take it, bam, you call upon that force, one of those nadar, to help in your manifestation or your elevation. That's all you're doing. So those forces are inside of you, not outside of you. So that's a trick and the trap that we have been taught to look outside of ourselves for deity or for the divine, when in actuality, the divine is inside of us all the time, every time. Before inception. Remember though that, so the divine had to have an entry point. This is a mother and a father to come in to physical. You see? So it wasn't no God. He created us. I use the word he. No. Our parents are the deities, are our personal creators. And you have a child, you now become a creator, living creator who created other living creators. That's how it works. This is, again, I've said, we are introducing new concepts, new words, and new terminologies, because this is the day and time we're in to expand our minds. You see? What about the Pleiadians? What about the Andromedans? We never talked about them things in our mystery system. So, I just want to read something here. Oh, go ahead. You think? Oh, okay. It's about that. How that come in? I just want to read something here. This is from Natural Ether Energy, and it reads. This is page 3, and it reads. Okay. Let me see. Okay. I'll start from verse 9. It reads, inactive brain natural ether energy. This natural ether energy is a creative energy. Okay, that creates things. Okay. So brain natural ether energy is in a state of the word here is tak shu'a, condition, between the science of somethingness, which is absolute matter, and the science of nothingness, absolute space. This is what brain is. This creative energy, we call it brain natural ether energy. It's in a state of absolute matter, somethingness, and nothingness, absolute space. All or omni space, the all or uni matter. And this condition does cause brain natural ether energies to be black magic and magnetic charge and energy of attraction in effect when they are activated. I'll read this again because there's a lot to take in here. We have this thing called brain natural ether energy. These are creative energies that's within inside of us, especially of our brain. Many forms of ether energy. And before it's activated, it's in a state of, scientifically, the word they use is an inert state. It's neither active nor inactive. It's in that state or condition. It's got here. And this state or condition does cause brain natural ether energies to be black magic and magnetic charge and energy of attraction in effect when they are activated. So when they become activated, the results, people tend to term it as black magic. And how is it done? By way of our thoughts, mental activation, or mental alchemy. We start using our minds, okay? Our creative minds. This is what we're pulling on, these creative forces. The Master Teacher is giving you, in this particular scroll, natural ether energy, it's giving you the science behind manifestation from the next, I don't know how many, the next level teachings towards manifestation. This is what it's telling us here. Okay. Wu-nuwaupians know that when the divine science of absolute space coincides or become harmonious with each other, as to our race, the Negroids, black magic is the effect. It is to us a miracle or action like a miracle results. So when we use our mind powers to create conditions that we want, to the onlooker, it will seem like a miracle. This is the power of synchron, the power of, what word do we use? There's a word in my head, but I'll tell you, it'll come back later on. Okay. Natural ether energies of the brain, reason and spirit beings, etheric beings, are in material matter space classification of existence by way of natural nature. Read that bit again. The natural ether energies of the brain, reason, because reason is also a creative energy force as well. You've got reason, and you've got spirit beings or etherians are in material matter space classification of existence by natural nature, because talking about this natural ether energy of the brain, the science of reasoning, and these spirit beings, they can bring material and space into creative unison with each other. What he's saying here is that space is not empty. There are creative forces within space, okay? Which is, he calls it natural ether energies are within space, which is called nothingness, and we also have somethingness as well. Let's go ahead, I'll read that again. 13 again. Natural ether energies of the brain, reason, and spirit beings, etheric beings, are in material matter space classification of existence by natural nature, because natural ether energies of the brain, the forces of reasoning, and the spirit beings, etherians, can bring material and space into creative unison with each other and involving other opposites in nature when necessary. Ordinarily, space and material are in what is called inseparable unity. However, when space and material are in what is called perfect unity, creative unison, extraordinary and miraculous things occur. There is no energy existing or can exist other than material energy and material magic, creative energy. I've taken things to the next level. But what it's saying here is that there are forces, the Mochi is breaking it down here, there are forces, creative forces that we can, that's at our disposal to utilize to bring things into existence. Okay. And as we said earlier on, is that it's not like we are outside, or those forces are outside of us. They are inside of us. Okay. I know I've said a lot. You want to say something, Samuel? Okay.
You know how you say, they're outside, they're not in us. And sometimes you say, bringing from up above, I'm thinking, you know how you say as well, about the mass, and you say things are nothingness, and they're something at the same, somethingness at the same time, like coexisting. I was thinking, is it inside you? So a lot of things are they inside of you and outside of you at the same time as well?
Nothing is outside of us. That's the thing about it. Nothing is outside of us, because you are like a cup, and the forces that are, you are like a cup, but the cup gives the illusion of separation, or the illusion that things are outside of you. But you are, the cup is inside the room, and the divine part of you is inside the cup and also outside of the cup. You see? So the cup gives the illusion. That's what it is. All the forces, the creative forces, are around you, in you, and through you, not outside of you. Because there's nothing outside of you. Because you are in the all, and the all is inside of you. Let's word it a different way. You are in everything, and everything is in you. Is it like that? You are in everything, and everything is in you, but your physical body creates the illusion that everything is outside of you. That is the illusion that's been created. You see? So all you're doing is, now, there are forces that vibrate on higher frequencies. You just have to know which station to tune into to pull those forces, those higher forces, towards you. But in order for you to know means you have to be taught. And you have to be taught by somebody who knows how to teach you the right way to do it. You see, that's why this world is the world of illusions. It gives us the impression that you've got the cup and there are things outside of the cup. Everything's outside of the cup. But the cup is not out, nothing is outside of the cup. My brother wants to say something?
No. Is it similar to we thinking that we're separate vessels when we're actually just pure energy?
Yeah.
And once we start to vibrate on the same frequency, we can all blend in.
That's right. Say that bit again, when we decide to
blend in. We would decide that we're one being. We blend in.
Yeah.
Like it's like when we're chanting or speaking on the same frequency or tone, our language, for instance.
Yeah. So you use the word chanting. Now, what happens when we start to chant? When we chant together, it becomes harmony. It becomes harmony. Okay, he's chanting, we're all chanting. Say a simple chant, Om, Om. We all do know Om. There comes a point whereby From harmony, it becomes unison. It becomes one. So there's no separation. We become one because we're all trying on the same one note, the same one vibrational frequency. So we become one. That one is what's referred to as collective consciousness or collective awareness. Or in religion they say Christ consciousness or universal consciousness. All saying the same thing using different terminologies. So now, that means then that the so-called Jesus of the Bible wasn't really a physical being, it was a state of consciousness. This is looking at it from a different perspective. The God of the Bible is not one individual, it's talking about a state of mind. How do you know that? Because didn't Jesus say, is it not written in your law that ye are gods? Didn't the Lord make Moses a god? Psalms 82:6. Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods, children of the Most High? That means that there are gods and there are higher gods that vibrate on a higher frequency. And all it is a matter of us aligning ourselves to those higher beings. The Master Teacher said it like this: why would you want to be the Most High rather than be a part of the Most High? That's how he said it. And remember, he's here to raise us up to be like him, one who is a part of the Most High in terms of mental vibratory frequencies. I know maybe a lot to soak in, like a sponge, but this is, this is...
Just, can I say something?
Patricia Harper, go ahead, Samantha.
Yes. So it's really the reason why the Master Teacher said the future has already happened, because what you're taking from the mind is already there.
That's right.
You're just taking it, bringing it into whatever it is you want to construct.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Keep it going, keep it going. Okay, so the future has already happened and the past is still happening. Okay? So that means that, so the future has already happened. That means then that there's nothing new.
Right.
And the past is still happening. So, yeah, you're welcome, Samantha. So this, so you see how we have to reverse engineer our thoughts, our minds, what we've been taught, look at things from a different perspective.
Right. Yes.
You see. And that's what's happened, is that we have been taught to think in, here it is, inside the box as opposed to outside the box. We call it thinking, we need to adopt what's referred to as a circular mind process, which is infinite mind processing. So since we are inside of everything and everything is inside of us, time is not outside of us. Time doesn't move in a direction. There's nothing new in existence. All we're doing is, like the brother said, all the ingredients is already there. All we're doing is pulling in that which is already there to our physical manifestation. You get that? Any more questions, comments, and or observations? I know it takes time for it to sink in. I was talking to, let's give you a little story here. Talking to a guy at work. I was telling him about the triune being, how we have a God mind, we have the mortal mind, and we have the devil mind. I said that God mind is the divine mind inside of us. and the society that we live in suppresses that God mind and wants us to think in terms of a mere mortal, in terms of limitation, and wants to propagate the devil mind, meaning we just do that which is wrong, not to our advancement, but to our enslavement. So I said to him that once you recognize that divine mind, you start operating from that divine mind, anything and everything that we imagine to do, we'll be able to do, and there'll be no restrictions. The society that we live in, they will have no hold over us. And we realize that, hang on, whatever I want, I don't need him, I don't need his system, I don't need his construct, because that's what it is, and it's done deliberately. You want to say something, Samuel?
So when you mention the nine mind, is that like the third eye?
When you use the word your third eye, you're actually referencing the fact that you now could see interdimensionally. But when we use the term nine mind, we're saying you're using a higher form of mental processing. You're now extracting a greater portion from the mental reservoir, and that portion from the mental reservoir you call my mind or mine. You see, so you are expanding your mental processing. That's when you say nine mind. You're now thinking outside of the box. You're using what we call sound right reasoning. That is nine mind thinking as a nine ether being. You see, so this is what we are pulling in. Okay, when we say pulling in, we should rephrase that and say pulling towards us. Because when we say pulling in, means it's outside of us, but we just rephrase it and say we're pulling those forces towards us. That's already there. We just have to align ourselves to those frequencies. Okay. So Delilah Wu, I have a question. Go ahead, Delilah Wu. I'll tell you, pull you up. Sorry. I invite Delilah Wu to speak. Wait till she comes up. Yes, so there's nothing we are. I know that it takes time for us to absorb these concepts, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. See, because of the day, time, and cycle that we're in. Okay, let's wait for Delilah Wu to come up. Okay. Any more questions? Delilah Wu?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Zamalta.
Great. Rahubat.
Wu-Sabat.
I have a question, and this is going to be from the Mind book.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was reading, and I want, if you will, to elaborate on the quantificated ether, the 5 properties of the ether. And it states here, I'm on page 63.
Okay, I don't have to scroll on me, but continue reading.
Okay. Number 21. The 5 properties of ether are grief, desire, anger, delusion, and fear, which are all generated in the ether. Would you expound on that a little for me, please?
Can you read it? Can you read a bit more, please, Zamalta?
Sure. Let me get uncomfortable here. 1 second.
Okay.
I'll go back. The 5 properties of ether are grief, desire, anger, delusion, and fear, which are all generated in the ether, ninth power of 9, containing both agreeable and disagreeable, good and evil. And there's a reference. The Holy Tablet, chapter 1, tablet 1, verses 16 through 17 states, 16, 9 ether is a combination of all existing gases of nature. Nothing anywhere can be as powerful as all existing gases. 17. Therefore, 9 ether is the original creator who grew all the universe. Now this is back to the next verse, 28. Grief is the chief part of ether, and so is happiness, for which grieving the body feels like empty space. Desire is fleeting like the wind. Therefore, it belongs to the part of air found in ether. When anger arises, the body becomes hot. Anger belongs to that part of the fire found in the quintuplicated ether. Number 34. Is that good? You want me to read more?
Continue reading, because you're actually answering the question yourself, but continue reading, you'll find the answer there. Okay, so before you continue, so we have the 4 elements, and the master is attributing those 4 elements to these states of emotion. Okay. Okay, continue.
Okay. 34. Delusion is a preservative as water and belongs to that portion of water found in ether. Number 36. Finally, when we are frozen with fear, the body becomes inanimate and statue-like. 37. Thus, fear belongs to the earth principle. 38. The remaining 20 properties can be understood in a similar manner. 39. Although the emotions are actually attributes of the spiritual body, they are treated as if they belong to the physical body. But this is where their influence are directly perceptible. 41. Because the emotions belong to the ether portion of the quintuplicated elements, they cannot be the self which breeds selfishness. 42. They are negated, and identification with them is not possible. And 43. Say, I am not this emotion. 44. I am not this body. 45. I am not these actions. 46. I am above, observing, controlling, witnessing. 37. Abandon the idea of I-ness and minus and identify with the imperishable, in quotes, Adam, you. 48. Which is entirely different from the 5 elements. And 49, which is knower, seer, and witness of all these products. Number 50, the physical body is reduced to nothing as it is analyzed and all temporary qualities are removed. You want me to continue?
That's it. So, again, what the masters tell us is that each of those emotional states are correspond to one of the 4 elements, and the 5th element that rises above them all is the ether, that etheric state, or that etheric mindset that can that overrides them all. But when we start utilizing that 9 mind or that 9 ether mindset, we can reconcile, that's the word he uses, reconcile all those emotive states that correspond to one of those elements. Or to put another way, what he's saying here is that what you read there, the four elements also has, those four elements correspond to an emotion, and we can reverse those emotions by looking at a corresponding emotion. I'm trying to say, I'm trying to put it in as clear words as I can. Looking at the opposites or the corresponding, that's the word here in second wisdom to look at the corresponding aspects of those emotions as it pertains to one of those elements. Okay. Is that clear?
In part, yes. However, so what I'm hearing you say is the idea that we have these emotions is a part of our existence of the night ether, or no?
Yeah, it is part of our existence because, it is part of our existence as soul beings. It is part of our existence. Otherwise, it wasn't part of our existence. It wouldn't exist. You wouldn't be having this conversation. It is part of our existence, but it can be controlled and it can be reversed, those conditions. As a matter of fact, is that what he's saying here is looking at, I don't have to scroll on me, looking at those emotions and looking at the elements that correspond with those emotive states, you can change or alter those emotive states. That's what he's saying here.
Okay, to your point there, I'm going to go back to number 14.
Yeah.
Each quintuplicated element produces a special effect according to its predominance.
Yeah.
Each contains qualities of the others and has a particular function in nature and a human being. Further, number 17, each of these elements have 5 properties. Number 18, these properties are based upon the interactions of the subtle elements within the gross elements. And number 19, and total 25 in number. Number 20, in order to better understand this, let us examine the properties associated with the quintuplicated ether. When I first read this, I thought ether, and never thought emotions involved or included or in ether, meaning outside of me. Whereas now, as you were stating earlier to the question before this one, everything exists within us, and we exist within everything.
That's right.
So the ether is a description of what our existence basically is. That close.
That's right. Remember when you say ether, when you say we are etheric beings having a physical experience, experiencing what it's like to be physical, so we are the physical aspect of ourselves is within inside the ether body. So the etheric side of us, so let me put it like this. So we are etheric beings having a physical experience, but the physical body is inside our etheric body. But even our physical body has different cloaks or sheaths to it. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it even better. So the master teacher put it like this: is that we have the physical plane, we have the plane of force, we have spiritual plane, etc., etc. And all these different planes, all these different forces are inside of us and outside of us at the same time. And the only difference between one and the other is its mode of vibration. Once we learn to raise our vibration, we no longer become affected by some of these emotive states. One thing I do recommend is spend time, if you listening, especially to the Om tone. If what practice I do, I listen to the Om tone a lot, or chant the Om a lot, and that will help to align with the etheric side of our being. Okay, so I hope that helped, Zamalta.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Last question, we sent it to Atum Ray Kemet. That's out to Atum Ray Kemet. Are you receiving this? Going once? Going twice? Atum Ray Kemet. Last question before we close. Okay. I don't think we received that. Okay, fam. We've come to that time again. We'd like to say Tawakum. Thank you all for participating in today's class. Hope you found it informative. Like we said, we introducing new words, new concepts, new terminologies. It's all necessary for us to raise ourselves up to the next higher level. Once again, thank you for coming to today's class. Another class next week, same time, same place. Got different student, teacher of the master. I'd like to say, until the next time, Wadu. Ashok Zaman. Wadu.